Mackenzie, and today I'm going to be talking about the story of how I found out I was pregnant. Currently, right now, I am 28 and a half weeks pregnant. I'm almost 29 weeks pregnant, and in my third trimester, and expecting my little baby boy at the end of May. Okay, let me just dive in. So, I found out I was pregnant. I've kind of mentioned this in other videos a little bit later on than most women do. I don't know where to start with this one, actually. Okay, maybe a little quick thing about my background, just so that you're aware. My fiance lives where I live now, which is in Ottawa, Ontario, which is in Canada. Like, I'm Canadian. And I was going to school, finishing up my last year at a university in Halifax, Nova Scotia. So we were planning on being apart this year, and then I was going to come back, be graduated, work, all that fun stuff, you know, start our lives together. So we were living separately. And at least from September to planning on until the end of April, we were not going to be living in the same place. And I was on birth control. And with my birth control, the type of birth control I was on, it made me not have a period. I was showing signs when I was younger of anemia, and I was having extremely intense, long periods. So my doctor recommended that I go on this birth control, and I'm not going to say what kind, but recommended that I go on this birth control, and it would eventually cut down my periods to nothing, or I'd have spotting. I ended up leaving for school in September, and so for that 8 months, I was having spotting every month. I was having like light periods, so I hadn't gotten to the point where I wasn't having any periods. But I didn't keep track of them or anything, or what day they started, anything like that, because it was very inconsistent. When in the month I would get it, but I would kind of get like some light bleeding, and that was kind of like, okay, you're not pregnant, you know, like a regular period. Anyways, I was away at school in September, and I kind of had a vague idea. I was like, I should be getting a period right now. I didn't have a period, and I was like, okay, that's not too much cause for concern, because this is what's supposed to happen. You know, like, I've been on this pill for years. I know my period eventually just zeroes out and I don't have one. So I was like, okay, like, that's not too much of a cause for concern. I'm not even gonna freak out about it. And then a couple weeks go by, and I'm now towards the end of September, and I'm starting to get nausea. Like, right towards the end of September, I was having extreme food aversion and nausea. And I was like, this is a little pregnancy. This is like kind of the signs and symptoms of pregnancy. And I'm like a full-time student, and I'm working part-time, and you know, so I have all these things going on, and I'm like, I should really do a test. I'm like, I'm gonna take a test, and just to be sure. I ended up taking a test. It came back negative, and I was like, huh, okay, like, I'm not pregnant. Like, all right, like, we're fine. Apparently I'm just sick for some reason. So that kind of made me worried, because I'm like, hey, I'm experiencing symptoms out of normal for me, and out of the regular things I deal with, or for periods, or for anything. And I was like, I definitely think that this isn't normal. So I ended up kind of waiting it out until the second week of October, and it was just getting so bad. Like, I was nauseous 24/7. I couldn't eat. I was like throwing up and blah, blah, blah. It was a lot of fun. So I ended up going to my doctor and saying, like, listen, like, I don't know what's wrong with me. I did a pregnancy test. It came back negative. I was like, I'm away at school. Like, all I do is like go to school, go to work, hang out with my friends. Like, that was it. Walk my annoying little dog. And so we ended up having, what were we doing? She ended up doing a couple of tests on me that I could do there, like just feeling like my stomach and stuff. And I think at that time she thought it could have been either my anemia acting up, like, because I've never really fully diagnosed with anemia. So she thought maybe it could be the fact that I'm, you know, fully anemic now. I was trying to take iron pills, would throw those up right away. Thank you. And then I also, when that didn't work, we started thinking it might have been an ulcer. And I had a stool test and I had my blood test scheduled. But anyways, something else happened before I could go in for my blood test. So the stool test came back, it was fine. I had no signs of an ulcer, like a stomach ulcer. And so my doctor was still trying to figure out like what this could be. And it's funny enough, when I was looking back on my blood test, she wasn't even testing for the HCG protein, I believe that's in your urine to tell if you're pregnant. Or is that your urine or in your blood? In my blood, sorry. I said blood test. She wasn't even testing for that. So, which is like kind of a little weird, because I'm like, I know I said I took like a at-home pregnancy test, but I think like maybe you should do a blood test. You know, if I'm showing all the signs, it's like, but for some reason, neither of us thought that it was pregnancy. I don't know why. But I was seeing a doctor every single week. I ended up getting a really bad sinus infection, so I was also trying to deal with that, and I was trying to get medication for that. And then it wasn't until I was at work one night and at my part-time job, and I kind of like, we were just closing up, and I looked in the mirror and I noticed like my belly had a little bump, and like I was like, okay, like, you know, I normally, like, I didn't have necessarily a super flat stomach before, but I was like, that's kind of new, and I'm not eating, you know, or not that I wasn't eating, but I wasn't eating as much as like I normally do, and I normally lose weight really quickly if I'm sick. Like if I have any sort of cold, like it kind of just melts, and especially if I'm throwing up, which I was, like, I don't gain weight, like I'm not gaining weight, and I was like, I'm kind of gaining weight. And I didn't have a problem with it, obviously. I was just kind of like, this is like really weird. And I just noticed like my little belly, and I was like, okay. And I remember I like kept things normal, closed up, and I was like walking home, and I called my fiance and started like literally bawling on the phone with him, because as I was walking home, I was looking up all the symptoms of pregnancy, and I was like, it was basically just like, check, 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 yeah, you're pregnant. I was looking up, okay, what would your belly look like at this amount of weeks, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I literally was on the phone with him. I'm like, I think I'm pregnant. And he was like, you took a test and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I think I'm pregnant. Like something feels different. Like, I'm like, I feel like I'm pregnant. Like, it was like, as soon as I looked up all the symptoms, because before I didn't think I was, but I was like, because the test told me I wasn't. And then now I'm like, no, like I am. And so I was planning on going back home again to renew my health card the third week of November. And I was like, the second or third week of November. And I was like, okay, I'm going to come home that weekend. I'm planning on doing it anyways. I'm going to go home. I'm going to take another pregnancy test. I'm going to go with my fiance. He's going to, you know, like we'll be there together. And whatever happens, I'll at least have him there with me. A couple weeks go by. The nausea isn't subsiding. I'm still feeling sick. My stomach isn't really growing enough noticeably. Like gradually, I was getting bigger now that I look back on it, but it wasn't enough like each week, like where I notice now my stomach getting big, you know? I don't know. It was such a gradual thing. And so I ended up coming home, and my boyfriend works night shifts, so he ended up coming to get me, because my mom picked me up earlier from the airport, and he came and got me, and we were driving by like a Shoppers Drug Mart, which is like a drug mart. I don't know. It's like a convenience store type thing that also has prescriptions, and you can go buy pregnancy tests there. So we drove by one of those. We drove by Shoppers, and my fiance was like, do you still want to get that pregnancy test? And I was kind of like at that point just thinking, I'm not pregnant. I don't know what's wrong with me, but I mean, like, my doctors, we're all trying to figure it out. I have a blood test scheduled for when I come back. I was like, I don't know. I was like, well, you know, maybe we should, just be on the safe side. Like, maybe I'll just go get it just to be safe. I was too scared to go in myself or to even go in with him. And thankfully he's an angel and he went in and got it for me. I decided, I was like, I know you're supposed to take a pregnancy test. It's the best time to take it is in the morning. So I decided I'm not gonna take it right away. I'm gonna wait until the morning comes and, you know, when I wake up, you know, do my thing. I really didn't think I was pregnant anymore. I kind of was like, no, like that was just me freaking out. I totally know that now. I'm fine. And so me and my boyfriend go home. And the rest of the night is normal. We go to bed. Since he works nights, he sleeps in a little bit more than I do. I'm definitely a morning person. I wake up at like 8 normally. And so I woke up, I had my little dog, so I took Ollie outside, I fed him, you know, the usual thing. And I was like, okay, while I was like starting to make my breakfast, I was like, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and pee on this thing and time it and then just do that and get that over with. Because I didn't want to wake him up because I really didn't think, I was like, I really don't think this is a big deal. And I didn't want to wait for him to wake up because I was like, he's just gonna stress me out. I'm gonna stress him out. You know, this isn't a good idea. So I was just like, okay, I'm just gonna get this over with now. So I start going about my morning routine and I kind of forgot about it. And then my phone goes off, like the timer. And then I go back into the bathroom and I look at my test and I'm like, because I was like, I kind of like looked away. I was like, oh, I'm not pregnant. And I was like, no, definitely pregnant. And I kind of like, and they were like dark blue lines. And I was like, oh my God. I think the first thing I did, I walked into our room where my fiance was fast asleep like a sweet little angel. And I was shaking and I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do, obviously, because that's huge news when you don't necessarily plan for a little miracle, especially when you're on birth control, but someone was really eager to be born. So and my fiance was great and he was always supportive. I was kind of freaking out because obviously I wanted to finish school first. We talked about having kids. We knew we were going to have kids together. We knew we wanted to get married and like, you know, obviously. So it wasn't a huge blow. It was mostly just like, okay, how am I going to do this? Because I don't have my degree yet, you know? And that's what's kind of made it a little bit difficult, but a little bit more worth it as well because I'm working towards, you know, finishing for my little baby. I don't think I was being ignorant on purpose. Like I was taking tests and finding doctors and like, you know, doing everything I thought I was for my health. And then, yeah, I ended up just kind of going by my entire first trimester, not even really knowing I was pregnant. But yeah, that's my story about how I found out I was pregnant and my little surprise baby. And me and my fiance could not be happier really in getting ready for our little man to be born. I will be posting a vlog and a birth story as well with my little man when he arrives. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Let me know if you want any other videos or want me to talk about anything else. I can also talk about being a student right now while I'm pregnant and being I just said it. Oh my goodness, my pregnancy brain is bad. That's to tell you how school's going. Oh God. But in case you want to know about how I deal with that, how I plan on being a new mom while I finish up some of my classes. So yeah, that's all I have to say about that. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please comment any other video suggestions you have for me or any questions you have, and like this video and subscribe if you want more baby updates, if you want to hear more about my boring, although I find it pretty crazy life in Canada. So